rush. I just have to go back to work, which I'm not. I'm not rushing to go back.
What time we need to?
Oh.
Yeah, good.
No, whenever I'm good.
Let's
You
go.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm in no rush to get back to the grind.
Yeah.
At least that one.
Welcome to PBJJF Podcast, guys. We're on the number 57. The goals to hit at least 1,000.
Yeah.
So we gotta keep
Like I said,
grinding.
I'm in no rush to get back to the grind.
I'm sorry.
So, guys, I just want to start remind you that if you guys are watching this podcast, make sure you guys like, subscribe, click the bell button, and please share with your friends. This is extremely important to keep the podcast going, and this way you can keep going. That's basically it. So
That's why I'm motivated to us.
that motivates us for sure. Give it a like, and also want to thank our sponsors. They really make this possible. Santos Law Firm, a high-profile immigration law service. They're extremely professional, and they really make things work for you if you're capable of applying for any type of visa or any type of. I'm actually I use them, so they're extremely professional, and they really make you feel. What is the word?
Professional. They do their best to help, you know. Like I feel that at my school with my instructor and my brother. Now they like two different like type, and they get different trying to apply for different visas, you know, because they like Santos Law, they try to match them on the right visa, you know. That's like. And just have like the good information is awesome, because like I remember when I get here, I don't know how to make it on the right way. Thanks God I get in a good hands, you know.
Right.
But now the information is there, man. When you come from other country, just contact the good lawyer and try get your visa and doing the right things and be on.
Yeah, and if you want to go to Brazil, I don't think Brazil requires some type of visa to go, the visa, but there's some other visas that people that are working technology, see they're moving to Brazil because of technology opportunities.
Yep.
So we can go the other way around too. If you want to go to Brazil, reach out to Santos Law Firm, the high-profile immigration law service. They have over 50 people in their team, and they really specialize in different aspects of immigration, so they're the best and the one I want to go. Also, I want to thank you, PBS CRAWLSPACE Foundation. It's great to see the support from different industry come to jiu-jitsu. You know, like you see lawyer, you see a law office, you see construction companies. You know, like reaching out to us, and they actually PBS. The owner, she actually comes and brings her son to PBJJF tournament, and she reached out. So she really liked the way we run the events, the way we're helping jiu-jitsu to grow, and she said she wants to be part of it. We actually want to bring her to the podcast to talk about her experience in jiu-jitsu, and it's great to see how they're looking to jiu-jitsu as a potential advertisement opportunity, you know, like, and not only PBJJF but the athletes that compete at PBJJF, you know. I think it's important for people to understand that when they come to PBJJF, they look professional, they look good. All their companies and people that come and watch them live or there are looking to a potential. They can be a potential sponsor for the athletes, you know. I think that this is really bringing the opportunity for many companies to look up for potential sponsored athletes.
Yeah, I definitely think it's important to have a professional standard at your event. That way companies feel comfortable, you know, putting their name on your event. So that's great to hear for you.
Yeah, and
You guys.
hear from her feedback, she
Right.
she really gave the feedback that that's what we do daily. Sometimes it's hard to see because we're dealing with so many adversaries.
Yeah.
Right, like everybody in a tournament will complain. Like
Yeah.
you see,
Yeah.
nobody, not 100% of people, because they lost.
Right.
Sometimes they lose and they don't feel that they. Sometimes they don't know the rules. They don't feel they didn't. They don't like the decisions, that sometimes are made, and that's can be a bad experience for them. But sometimes not from the tournament, but from their own experience.
Right.
So we try to really make it fair, professional, and we're getting even more out of our comfort zone to keep standardizing the whole experience of PBJF in any location. Like you just compete at the
DC Open,
DC Open, right?
Yeah.
Washington
DC Open in
Fall
Winchester.
Yeah.
And like we're trying to make it even better. Looking to we have the barriers,
Yeah.
blocking people. Now we're gonna start making. We're putting the cover on it to make it clean
Okay,
inside.
yeah.
We get a bigger mat. You fought on the
big mat.
Yeah.
He fought before on a small one. He competed before on a small one. Now we get the large mat. Make a lot of difference,
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
space, more room. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's interesting you talk about the standardization and people complaining. As soon as I go in to register and weigh in, I'm at the weigh-in table and a guy is in there with a rash guard on and then printed shorts. And he's like, "What? I didn't know I couldn't have these." And I'm like, "It's in the rules. It's in the registration.
We send an email,
you
man.
send it."
We push on the website and everything,
Yeah.
everywhere.
And you know what? At some point, people just have to take accountability. I feel like sometimes we have this mentality that the customer's always right, but it's not true. The
true,
customers
yeah.
are wrong a lot, and they're okay with being wrong. Because they feel like they deserve something, and it's like you didn't read.
True.
That's your fault.
That it's true. We send we try to inform people in different ways. Like at the you can look at the before you register.
Mhm.
Like anything you do, you read before. If you're doing like some type of
Yeah.
training, you're gonna read the rules. You're gonna read what you
Right.
need to do. So, and the way we wanna make it look, it's professional.
Mhm.
We want people to look sharp because it's not only on our benefits, on the benefit of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like you think about a student that you have that works into professional industry. They come in and they see chaos.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, man, those guys
I don't want
are.
to go there.
I don't want to train at this place because you, as a professor, connect to the organization when you bring your students in. So the organization is the reflection.
Yeah. Reflection. Yeah.
Reflection of your school.
100%.
If we look sloppy, we make you look sloppy.
Mhm.
And goes both ways
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we're trying to make a difference. In the East Coast, East
Right.
Coast is it's more like chaotic. Tournaments.
Yeah.
You see, I've been in so many around. That's why not all, but a lot.
Yeah.
And no standardization, and that's kind of how we want to take it to that level, And eventually, professionalism comes to investment, and at some point, we're gonna be able to pay big prizes for athletes.
That's our goal,
The more we grow, as you see, we're reinvesting daily in the tournaments. We're putting our personal investment.
Mhm.
We're consistently investing to the growth of PBJJF. And PBJJF is not ours, it's for the community.
Right.
This is something that we're trying to do to build jiu-jitsu.
Well, I think, I listened to Vicente and Gabriel when they were on, and they were discussing, just the difference in local tournaments. And that Sunday, I actually went to a rules seminar that VJ put on at his school in Pasadena.
Nice.
And one of the things he was saying to the parents is yeah, you can do all these local tournaments, but there's a reason why all these rules exist. Is one, to keep your son or daughter safe first, you know, because do you want a ref that's been reffing how many matches, isn't looking, and then your child gets injured? You know, these parents, many of them have never stepped foot on the tatami.
Yeah.
They've never done jiu-jitsu. So right there, what is their first impression of jiu-jitsu competition? Oh, it's unsafe.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it'd be a bad impression for sure.
Right. So one of the things that I just recognize that, you know, what you're trying to put forward is you saw a problem going around to all these competition events, and as a coach, you see it. It's chaotic.
Yep.
I mean, it's more tiring to coach some days when you have multiple students in these environments than it is to compete.
Yeah.
Because it's
You
like
get so stressed, you know?
yeah,
Like,
running from mat to mat, dodging parents, and I like the barriers. At first, as a coach, I didn't like it because I wanted to be next to my athlete. But then, also, I'm more under the understanding now that like your athlete, yeah, you should be eyes for them, but they're gonna have to work their own controller. They're gonna have to know what to do out there. You can't do jiu-jitsu for them. So it kind of cleans up that mat space so people can view the match, but it also keeps some of the like. Your girlfriend doesn't need to be out there with their phone filming, and your two friends that have no, idea what they're doing don't need to be by the scorers table, because then that just clouds the whole area. And the athletes that are up on deck, you know, they can't get to the scorers table. So then you have people on the microphone calling.
and
for
that's
people.
make the event running faster too,
Right.
you know, because like when a lot of people around the mat,
Crowded.
that
People
they have like
on the
oh,
mats. You see so many happy on the mats. It's kind of like chaotic.
disrespectful
You know?
in a sense to the environment that you're at.
that's also hit that from another coach and fighter, you know, because like we visualize this already, and now that's good. We can show that, like, guys, look, that's what we see. Look at that, way better like this, you know, and you guys start to see that too. That's cool.
Yeah.
And it takes more out of us, to be honest, because we have to educate professors, we have to educate kids, adults, competitors, parents. Like it's like you bring someone that doesn't know your rules in your school, and they start acting opposite of what you guys do.
Right.
And to re-educate that person, it takes more out of you than try to bring a brand new guy and just tell them the way you guys do. Because breaking habit,
Right.
And we faced so many challenges, and people are like, no, it's like, guys, we really believe in what we're doing. We're gonna, like the uniform, the no-gi uniform, how to look professional, to keep.
Even the gi, some people go to the tournament with like a red gi,
Yeah,
yellow
red.
or like a wrap gi. Like last tournament, they have the guy like with pants, and his pants like completely ripped, you know, on the knees. And I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, we need to find. I don't want to buy a new game. I'm like, man, get from some friend or whatever, teammate, but you're not gonna able to fight with these pants, you know. Like the fight will start first to grip the opponent, do it. They will take it half the pants off, you know. We gotta get the pants, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's not to be like elitist, you know what I mean, or to be, you know, oh, we're above it. It's to set a standard that way these other issues don't happen, right? It's like that's the reason for rules. That's the reason for guidelines, is because there's probably been a problem in the past that these rules address or prevent.
Yep.
And I think that's a good thing in the sport, especially as we like. Let's be honest, you know, I have a school in a rural area. Many people haven't been exposed to jiu-jitsu, let alone jiu-jitsu at a high level. And so those environments, if you go in, you know, and your students aren't aware of, you know, the small things like, or the rules, you know, it can make a difficult experience, you know.
Sure.
So I think it's on the part of the coaches as well to know what your students are signing up for, like know the tournament before advance, know what the rules are, and educate your students, you know.
Talk about rules. I have experience on my own school, you know. Same idea, but like from the school. Before, especially on the beginning, like 10 months is open, you know, man, everybody call. I try to schedule that on the best time for that. You know what I mean? Right. I'm like, I have classes since 5:30 to 8:30, but different levels. Man, those American be on a competition class. If the guy say I only can come 7:30, I'm like, please show up 7:30. I will get your spot here for the trial class. But that's make it. Even I put it here on the side, do the intro on the side, make it hard to I give attention for both groups, And I'm like, okay, done. I just choose put people to do the trial on the fundamentals class. Man? I get sometimes people not able to do, But if he's not able to come on the fundamentals class, he's not gonna be able to sign up. Do you understand? Because I only can come 7:30 on advanced. And how you go start on the advanced class? I'm sorry, but you gotta try figure out your schedule to start on the fundamentals class, and then I will start to close way more people because I'm more relaxed. I'm here on the right class. You understand? On the right, the class start 5:30. I tell them like be here 5:15. I have time to explain everything. Put it here in the gear. You understand? If he late, he's still on time.
Yep.
Do you understand? Yep. And then like make my life so easy.
Absolutely.
Just to put some rules. Do you understand?
So and I think one of the problems that you face when you open up a school is you want to introduce everybody into jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
And once you get that core group of individuals that have already kind of went past the fundamentals, they're your blue belts, your purple belts. If you have a mainstream class and you're funneling your intro program into that, it's like you feel like, oh, I'm doing a service, I'm doing something good because I'm helping this intro person out and I'm including him. I'm not saying that he can't take the class, but now you're ignoring how many of your other students that have dedicated their time, their money, their efforts to grow with you. That's and true. So I think like setting that boundary, and it's okay to have boundaries. We look at in life a lot of times boundaries can be uncomfortable to set, but I think they're important because, hey, I have to set this boundary that like, hey, I can't show you how to do this basic move because we have a class for that, and we'll talk you through it. But and I think there's an appropriate way. You don't shame them for not knowing it. Yep. You just say, hey, this is what you do, and it's okay if you don't understand this right now. We have a class that meets here, and I promise you that's going to give you everything you need. That way you feel more comfortable when you get to this level. Because
I agree.
Guys pop in for their first class and they're like, oh, it's a Wednesday, we have our mainstream gi class, and we're doing De La Riva guard.
Man, like
right.
And that's like frustrated, and the chance to hear quick is huge.
Yeah,
sure. It's huge.
Yeah. And I think that what you guys are addressing is something that I'm personally doing with opening like franchise of Ogogi. So I'm trying to address all those problems and help and guide the new Ogogi schools to not make the mistakes that I personally made, throughout the years. Find the best, some advice for people, create your schedule that can fit people in different times, right? Have fundamentals for them, schedule them to the right class, like Max was saying, right? Trust the process. You gotta trust. Hey, in the beginning you're gonna be scared, you're gonna be worried, but I think trusting the process, having a mentor like you had mentors, right? And trust their process. If they succeed, find someone that achieve what you want to achieve, and ask for guidance, and then follow the process.
By the way, congrats, GP, going up in the second location. It's like on next month, the soft
October 14th.
And that's in Virginia,
in
correct?
Culpeper.
Culpeper.
Come by if you can, please.
Yeah, cool, man.
Everybody's welcome. If you guys are watching. Congrats, Ian. Ian will be running Culpeper. Bringing Gabriel from Brazil. He's going to be teaching.
Head instructor.
He's going to be the head instructor.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, I think that's so. Some of those problems were addressed. Like we can try to guide people to that direction. And I say one thing, that I believe that's the future of jiu-jitsu. At some point, all schools are going to be uniformed. Your students are going to be wearing your gi. His students are going to be wearing his gi.
Right.
That's how I do now, since we opened Ogogi. Because that's the way you keep, in my point of view, you bring unity, you take political and everything away from these schools that we bring with our uniform. You think about army.
Right.
How you're in the army with
he has different camo and he has different camo, right?
It creates that bond. It brings the brotherhood, the unity, and we're going when we wear the uniform, we share our values, right? Like we represent something. It's something beyond us,
Right.
you know, and I think that's the future of jiu-jitsu. I believe in the next 5 to 10 years, that's how all schools are going to move.
I think it makes sense from, a academy standpoint and an owner standpoint. We kind of encountered this issue when we were coming up as a school about 5 years in, where we kind of did like a patch requirement, and to be honest, it didn't go over well. I think in America we value individualization, like everybody is an individual and everybody has their own interpretation of what they want to present, and that's why you see these different gis. Everybody wants these cool rash guards, especially I think it's more important for white and blue belts sometimes, because they buy the gear thinking that the gear makes them better at jiu-jitsu. It's like any hobby. Like people want to get into rock climbing, so they buy all the cool stuff from REI and then never go out to rock climb, and it just sits there. And I think that happens in jiu-jitsu.
But like,
I will tell you one thing that I tell your students are going to spend less money in the course of their training buying the uniforms from the school, because they're gonna buy less products. Because sometimes they see like sales. Oh, they buy this.
Yep.
Sales, they buy this. They never use it. I have people come to me, JP. I used to spend this amount of money with things that I would never use, and then I just buy 2-3 gigs.
Yeah.
I'm enough for me. I don't have to be the cool guy showing off, because you take a lot of the guys show up with a gi, that's so cool, blah blah blah, and then everybody it takes the attention from jiu-jitsu to what are you wearing. Oh, man, that's so cool. And then you bought a $500 gi, and he got a long gi, gi, and he bought for $30.
Create separation.
And then he was like, man, like here we are in the same spot. I don't care if you're the CEO. I don't care if you clean the floor. We're in the same place. We're sharing jiu-jitsu. I'm not here to here is where we talk about like politics. Sometimes somebody comes with something that can be very, very conflict, right? In my beliefs, like wear something that says something that can be very opposite to what you do.
Yeah.
That's what we see on the internet. Facebook. Why people are out of Facebook nowadays.
Yeah.
There's so many like we express ourselves with what we wear, and then we tend to take the jiu-jitsu purpose to attract to something else. That's kind of how I see a lot. And in my point of view, creating this, it takes a lot of drama away. It takes more attention in jiu-jitsu. We focus more on what we're looking to do, which is jiu-jitsu.
I have a hard time to do now, but one mistake, I don't listen here in the beginning. I have uniform, but it's not requirement. Do you know what I mean? Like we have it here. If you wanna buy, good. If you don't, that's fine too. But at one point I'm like, okay, I will try to put everybody in a uniform. So hard now. After you start in a different way,
It is, and one of the things that we try to do at our gym is like, I want you to wear it because you want to, because and I think that's one of the things that you have to create, is that we didn't ask everybody to put the VJ patch on or the Rauma patch, but they put it on because they want to represent us, because they're proud of the gym they're at, be part of where we're at. And I think that's where we try to find. I'm a big person on like, this person has this perspective, here's this perspective, let's find the middle path. Right, let's find this compromise in between, where we can give our students some autonomy in their training, what they wear, but also create an environment where it's students feel that unity, that brotherhood. I came up through football, American football, and it's essentially like a military hierarchy where everybody is the same, but there's so much individuality in football. You see these players wear like all these bands and different like Nike stuff, and it becomes like this swagger that you have, right, as an athlete. One of the things my college football coach did was he removed all that, and we were in basic like college issued gym shorts and gym shirt with a number. And I think there's some of that's needed to break down that individuality. That way you do create a team environment. So there's definitely, I think, a middle path as a gym owner to try to do it. I don't know if like trying to force somebody to do something sometimes is hard.
You don't force. You just tell them, hey, that's how we do here.
Yeah.
If this is not the place for you, don't need to.
Right.
You know,
That's
if
it.
you don't, if someone doesn't want to wear your requirements to join the team, they don't want to be part of the team.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't ever force anybody to join your school.
Yeah.
You just tell them the way you do things, and they accept or not. You don't force anybody. You know, I try to be the guy that looks 5 years ahead in the industry. You know, I'm always trying to look like ahead, like 5-10 years. How are we gonna be in 10 years? And something that I did 4 years ago is something that I believe is going to be the future of growth and solid business and growth of jiu-jitsu in the professional.
Just good practice. Yeah, absolutely.
Like-
But it works for like big schools, no? Like that's what I see. Like Alliance,
Gracie
like
Barra.
Gracie Barra. Atmos try to implement now. That's crazy. How I don't know.
Hey, it works.
Maybe it's the foot. Yeah, I have a hard time to agree with that too, because like I always has like sponsors,
Right.
you know, and I wanna wear who pay me. Then I mean that's like, and I think of my position, like man, if I'm like
How many
I'm a
how many athletes do you have right now? Sponsored athletes. Students.
nobody,
Right.
nobody. Yeah.
You're
No,
gonna
but
measure
that's
yourself with someone.
yeah, but that's my block on the beginning. Do you understand?
Right.
That's my block on the beginning.
Because
but
you
then,
see that perspective.
Yeah, but then I
How many do you
now
have?
I'm a jiu-jitsu owner. Yeah, and now I'm a
You
school
moved
owner. Yeah.
one person to the whole group.
But now I'm a school owner and I see it in a different way.
Right.
You understand? I'm like, man, I feel like who works on the Gracie Barra, they have athletic as a sponsor. They compete with the gear, but at the gym, everybody wear the
Everybody wears the
uniform.
same.
And man, Gracie Barra is real.
Yeah.
I come to New Mexico one time to fight fight to win. And I stopped by at the Gracie Barra. They have a Gracie Barra on the same street, the hotel, you know. I stopped by on the Gracie Barra from what his name, man? The guy who's training John Jones.
Greg Jackson. Greg Jackson.
No, the jiu-jitsu guy. He was a Brazilian. Tussa. Stop on his school and who's teaching his barata, his class, you know. He see me like, hey Max, how are you? Blah 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 blah. But do you wanna go join the class? I'm like, yeah, sure. What is the class? Fundamentals. I'm whatever. I just wanna move, you know, feel the air. Talk to the lady on the desk. Get that? She's like, okay, $30 for rent of the gear.
Yeah.
The drop-in. You know, too. So okay, we don't need to pay the drop-in, but we gotta pay the rent of the gear.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And you should have the rash guard too. I'm on a Gracie Barra
Yep.
uniform. It doesn't matter. And they have like one flyer with my picture because I will fight on the same weekend and fight to win on the wall. You know, the students recognize whatever. I get charged like exactly other people, and I need to wear the uniform.
But what does that show about you as a person and where you hold yourself to be able to be like, all right, I'm in someone else's academy. I'm going to humble myself to be set to their rules, their culture of their gym.
I follow your rules, you know. Like if I
Yeah.
go to your school and visit GP, that's how we wear the uniform. And usually, you will probably have a uniform for me to borrow for that day. GP,
Yeah.
you wear this
Yeah.
uniform, please. But I'm like, of course, you know. Like I'm going to visit you or train with you. I want to follow your rules, you know. Like
Yeah, I don't go to your house and then like
you know,
open up your fridge and do whatever.
You
Yeah.
know, that's I think that's part of I think that's the growth of the industry, understanding that. I'll tell everybody, if Roger Grace comes to a Gogi, he needs to wear a Gogi uniform. If I go to his schools and he requires that, that's what I'm gonna do. You know, like I think because I've seen that happen before when maybe like Roger comes and
Yeah.
not wearing it, but we all wear it. It's like, man, why the guy
Right.
is why? You know,
Right.
there's like the mutual. The way I think is that, man, if you come to visit a go. I have the uniform for you, and I don't charge the guys to borrow you. Man, just here's the uniform. Just come and train. But it gives us the support of investing. When I go to a seminar, I pay for the seminar. People are like, Joe, don't pay. I'm paying because I want to support jiu-jitsu. How am a jiu-jitsu black belt and I don't support jiu-jitsu back?
Yeah.
That makes no sense, you know. Like,
That's true.
Yeah.
and like any type of jiu-jitsu event, you know, I got cool. Man.
Yep.
Here.
Yeah.
I want to do.
Sometimes I pay pay-per-views, then I can't watch.
Yep.
Real.
Yep.
Like Brazil has like the one big show, BJJ Star. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah.
Man, they get like a really good show. I pay the pay-per-view to watch the Women's Grand Prix, and I'm in a wedding. I'm just mad. I want to support because they pay like the same amount they pay for the guys. You know, I think that's the first time a woman go get like $100K and one show. I need to support that. You know what I mean? I paid the pay-per-view and I did watch.
That's how jiu-jitsu will grow.
Yeah, and that's where you support that local community. You know what I mean? I think I don't want to get too off topic, but I think that's what you guys have done as a organization. Is there's a reason why you see more black belts at these local tournaments than I have seen at other local regional tournaments, and it's because you guys have done a good job of supporting these gyms that are growing, and you're showing support by having myself on, having them on, inviting them, giving them a platform to showcase their gym as you guys showcase your organization. And I think that's where you're going to grow. Like, it's not going to be this international company coming in running regional shows. No one knows the black belts. It's chaotic. The black belts are frustrated that they're going there and their youth aren't getting matches, or this is happening and the rule set is unclear, refs are having arguments. Like, that doesn't create a good environment for the community to grow. So I think that's one thing that I've definitely seen with the PBJJF tournaments. And I wanted to get back to one thing you were saying, Max, is like, there's a difference between the perspective you have as a competitor and the perspective you will have as an instructor or even an owner. And it was so hard for me to learn, man. It was, I'm very grateful. I have a business partner and my black belt instructor that's under VJ, Robert Carter, Bob Carter. He's kind of like the general behind the scenes. He's not a very outspoken guy. He's not flashy, very down to earth. But he's, I want to say, about 15 years older than me. So when we talked about mentors, like, him and I came into owning our gym because our old instructor left, Kevin. If you remember Kevin.
Yep. Kevin, yeah.
Yep.
He had also a shop, right?
Yep. So when we were underneath Kevin as students, he ran it part-time. So he ran it as a hobby and didn't really have to think about like the business aspects. And then when he had to leave the area because of his job, he was going to close down the gym, and he approached Bob Carter, my instructor, and then myself, because I was a assistant MMA instructor. I was like 3-0. I was a blue belt. I had no business going into business, but we wanted to have the place open.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because at this time, there's no other jiu-jitsu academy. Like, where we live at, there was no academy within an hour radius.
We need to make this happen.
This has to work, right? And our whole goal was, like, when we went into it, was doors open, lights on, people on the mat. That was it. We didn't pay ourselves. We didn't do anything. Like, it was just about survival in that moment. And it was weird because I was I was younger. I was 23 at the time, 24.
Very young,
Very young. I still didn't even start my career that I was in college for. And I was so focused on competition. That's all I cared about. Competition, pushing myself. And the way you approach training and the way you approach your relationships when you're a competitor is way different than you will approach it when you're not. I think the relationships you have with your students, the relationships you have with your teammates, your significant others, like your family members. When you're a competitor, you're very selfish.
You should be.
Yeah.
You as a competitor.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing to be selfish. What does it mean to be selfish? Well, when we roll, I'm not worried about you working whatever technique, I'm gonna work my technique, and I'm gonna make sure it works, because that's, you know, it's not this playfulness, you know, that's or the classes. Now the classes are, instead of being structured to the students' needs, they're structured around yourself. Or maybe it's even to the point where, you know, you're thinking about all these things to add to the gym, but they're not for the common person coming in that's doing a 9 to 5 doing jiu-jitsu. They're for your competitors.
To keep the lights
right. Yeah,
on.
exactly. And that is what Bob, for the longest time, had to beat into my head. Like, it was definitely tension, because I was so tunnel vision on my own goals that I didn't think it was wrong. You know what I mean? Like, when you're fighting MMA, like, I could have a test, I could have all these other things, but I'm worried about this guy that's about to try to fight me in a cage in a week.
Man, that week we have so many things to do, and I'm like, bro, I fight Saturday. I'm sorry. Let's postpone everything. Yeah, let's postpone. But that's hard. It's hard to manage both, you know.
Yeah.
But I try my best.
No, absolutely.
It's working.
Yeah, and you know, shout out to Max. He has a fight this Saturday.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'll be there.
Oos.
Yeah, I'll be there. So it is just interesting to hear you say that, because it is a balance. And as I've gotten older, injuries have slowed me down from that competition mindset, and I really have learned the importance of having that balance between meeting your own needs as a competitor, because it's important that you do that for yourself, to, you know, to feel good about yourself, to have that, you know, you can't forget about your own needs, but at the same time, you can't put your needs in front of your students. It should never, you know, necessarily happen in a way that's, you know, I would say,
Hurting them.
yeah, hurting them. Exactly.
Or the students and the business.
Yeah,
Like,
in the
you need to pay the bills so that begin them off, you know.
And I think it's something beyond. Like, when I came to the US, I was like,
yeah,
the peak of my division, or fighting, training, and then
You're very
I
young
moved
too
here,
at that time, like
young,
23,
yeah,
24.
23.
I remember.
And you know, and then I was like, man, I was like, first time, like, I was like crushing everybody, like training for me, and then like 2 weeks in, I was like, hold on, there's something wrong. People are not coming back. They're like destroyed. It, you know, they can't even walk the next day.
Yeah.
I was like, hold on, I have to take myself to another position. I'm not here for myself. I'm here for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And later we understand that this is way beyond technique. Jiu-jitsu is way beyond fighting, winning. It's a lifestyle. It's the way how, like, for me now, jiu-jitsu it's a platform where you use jiu-jitsu as a platform to change people's lives.
Absolutely.
You know, and this is way beyond. It's my purpose now. You know, like, it's way beyond winning. It's way beyond making you a champion. It's helping you to be a better person, helping you to be able to change your life through jiu-jitsu. You know, and I think that's. I feel when we talk to many people, this is the way I see majority of professors think when they become professors. You know, like, you see a feedback from people, hey, you changed my life. I was like, what? You changed my life.
Right.
I have some thoughts. You made those thoughts.
And that feeling right there, I don't know about, and you may agree, that lasts longer than any win.
100%.
You know, and I'm low level. I have never won anything at the world level, but I remember my last MMA fight. Like, I got out, my last MMA victory. Like, I was like, next. But when you have you know, a student come to you that has overcame an injury or some type of life adversity and says, like, hey, because of you, I was able to recognize my own strength to accomplish this. That, like, I don't know, man. It's weird as you age. Yeah. It's more fulfilling. You feel it. It lasts longer. It's not this fleeting good feeling that goes away in a second. You know.
You build a relationship with people. Like, people become part of your life. You know, your students become family for you, and like, we become family to each other, even when we don't see each other much.
All the time.
We recognize like us, like here. Do you know, we connect so much that
That's true.
it really creates a family bond. You know, like, when we see each other, man.
Hey,
what's
We
up?
have been seen for many times, but like, it's the same feeling.
the connection is good. They talk about the kid was like a bullying, you know. That's like a big thing for me. Get these kids more confidence. So these days with the like the internet and video game, but the kids don't play outside, and when they go play outside, sometimes get in a bad situation by bullying, you know. And JP has one case recently on his school. Don't say names, but just
So I have a student. He was like 9 years old and shy, and he started training jiu-jitsu. Show up. Sometimes like, hey, you look so happy to be here. Come on, buddy, let's go and enjoy it. And then the mom sent a message to us saying that he was a kid that used to be bullied from friends, right? And the other day he was playing with a friend, and some kids from his neighborhood came by and started to threaten them and started punching his friend.
Wow.
He grabbed the kid, took the kid down, had him, squeezed him, and make the kid ask to stop.
Yeah.
And it is so life changing for me when I see that, because we can change the course of a kid's life.
Right.
Giving them confidence.
Yeah.
Giving them the confidence to speak for themselves, the confidence for them to stand up for themselves, to not be a bully, to be confident enough to not get into a fight, and hopefully those benefits will change the path and the course of their life in a positive way. Like you see a kid that used to be bullied, his mom said, at this scenario he would just cry, but like how you see a kid changing dramatically in such a short period of time.
Get more confidence, man. That's the most important. And like he get on the challenge all day, every day at the school, cause I know that kid, and he's like bigger for his age. He jump on the class above it, just because he's super
So big.
but he's a big kid, but he's still on the underage by that class. Sometimes the kid's a little bit, he's small, but like more active, or is more whatever, like a 9 years old for like a 12 is a big difference, you understand? But he get challenged every day, energy. That's just another challenge outside,
And I think that word right there, challenge, right? Because that adversity, we use the word adversity, you're going to face adversity in life, whether it be going to practice and having like, oh man, now I have a hard roll. Well, that's adversity. But that's not adversity so much that it shuts you down as if you were out and a bully comes up to you, right, for that kid. And it maybe if he didn't have jiu-jitsu, that challenge, that adversity is so overwhelming that our bodies just shut down. Because it goes back to, I know the last time I was on the podcast, we kind of talked about that fight, flight, or freeze response. Well, children, when they're bullied, right, if they're not going to run away, they're going to freeze. And they're just going to take it. And I think what jiu-jitsu does is it gives them the confidence in dealing with difficult situations enough to know that, you know what, I have enough courage to stand up for myself. I have the ability to fight in this situation. I don't have to be a victim of my circumstance. I don't have to be a victim to somebody violating my boundaries. We talk about setting boundaries. We always tell our youth, like, no one has the right to place hands on you without your consent. Even when we roll jiu-jitsu, we slap bum, that's consent in a sense, right?
Let's go.
Let's go, right? But outside of here, it's not okay. It's not okay for an adult. It's not okay for another youth. It doesn't matter the situation. You have the right to defend yourself.
Yeah.
And I think for young kids, like you said, Max, that don't grow up in a environment where they're socializing in person and you're socializing over the internet or socializing through social media, you lose those people skills.
Yeah.
You said it earlier, like jiu-jitsu is not about winning competition. It's about like being in the jiu-jitsu business. You're in the business of relationships as a coach. You're always managing relationships and managing how to help others reach their goals. And it's important to keep that in line with your values as a business. I think sometimes we lose sight, especially if you have to pay the bills. Because once again, then you're focused back on your needs. You're not focused on the needs of the student, because what may You know, it may change your perspective if you're really stressed, if you're really going through it. You know, it's hard. It's a hard balance as a jiu-jitsu instructor, and I think if you're
It's business owners, right?
Right.
Like business owners, like kind of like struggle. Small
Right.
businesses, right?
Right.
Like it's kind of a struggle.
Yeah.
Some months, some economy things.
The
going
month starts and
on,
you're like, oh my
everybody-
God, look,
Yeah.
I have to pay all these.
Yeah.
I hope the students still coming.
The best thing we did was, and man, it was wild. It was like the wild west when we didn't have payments processed through a set membership. We were like, when we took over the gym, we were like taking payments
like
yeah,
every
like
month. Like,
oh,
you know,
and you're
contract,
chasing
yeah.
students down, and you're
Yeah.
doing these things, and we don't do monthly contract like multiple monthly contracts. We do just month to month. We're like Netflix, you know, just let us know if something something comes up. But I think it's more important also for the accountability aspect, because if that person knows they
But
didn't
you
pay
have the
for it,
process like on charge automatic. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
yeah, because I mean, think about this: is like if I know that withdrew out of my account, I'm going to use it now.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, if Netflix withdrew out of my account, I better start watching some shows. You know?
That's true. And it's a model. Like otherwise, it's not sustainable. You know? Like, we need to make a sustainable business, because having a jiu-jitsu business in some community, it's such a positive impact.
100%.
You know, like man, if we try to think about how can we have way more sustainable schools in a way that we can impact our communities, and we believe that if everybody does jiu-jitsu in the world, we have a better world. So we have to create a business that's sustainable and profitable in a way where you can live better. Now you can take care of students better. You can buy better equipment. You can hire someone to clean the school. Like,
Yeah.
you can take a lot out of your plate, you know.
And that is what we've tried to do at Ryoma, is invest back in the students. You know, when I was fighting MMA, we didn't even have a cage wall. Like that's like one of the biggest parts of MMA fighting, is being able to wrestle along the cage. We were able to purchase one of those, right, for the MMA fighters that were coming up. We were able to, our first time ever going to Pans was back in 2020 or 2021, sorry. And it was when they had it for the first time down in Florida. And we've never went to Pans, never did anything major like that, but we had a lot of students interested because of VJ, because VJ really, pushed us and gave us support, and he was like, yeah, do it. So we signed up, and as a team, we were able to pay for a hotel, like not a hotel, but Verbo, like a big house for all the students. They had to cover their airfare, but we were able to purchase that house, cover it for them.
That's cool.
Yeah, and we're doing the same thing. We have Dublin coming up in November. We're heading over to Dublin to compete, and we're getting an Airbnb, and some students are coming over. But that's the idea, is that I'm very blessed that I have another career path, because I feel like I'm able, and my business partner, we're able to make decisions that are based on the best interest of our students, and not always what has to pay our bills. And I think that's important, because sometimes it is stressful. Life is stressful, and as much as you love your passion, like if you make it your business, that's a balance. It's hard.
It is.
Now change it a little bit. Talk a little bit about the experience on the last weekend. You competed, like was a black belt. You did gi and no gi.
Yes, sir.
And
so
share with us, please.
Yeah, it was the second tournament as black belt. My first tournament as a black belt was actually at the Pans that you guys had, and I only did no gi. We had one of my teammates, Thomas Moorhead, hold down the gi, and I kind of like that, because I go in, represent Ryoma and Vicente in a no gi sense. He does in the gi, does his thing in the gi, but I was ended up with a silver and a bronze, but I'm actually more content with that than the gold that I received at the Pans. The gold that I got at Pans was a decision, and I'm not happy with the decision. You got the gold, you got on the podium, you're on the top, but right now where I'm at is, I feel, because during my purple belt years, I was injured and I spent a lot of focus on MMA. I feel like I'm trying to refine my technique and especially as a black belt. I have hold a high degree for the honor that Vicente and my professor Bob Carter have bestowed to me being a black belt, and I think it's important that you don't just rest. Like I'm not at the finish line. It just started again, right? I'm trying to refine like my understanding of the gi. So I was really happy that I was able to go in, and several of the things that I've been working on inside the training room, I was able to hit.
Nice.
And that's always a good feeling,
That's cool. On a be a new black belt is hard sometimes. You get the guys
Right.
like, I went like 10, 15 years competing as a black belt, like it's different. I remember like when soon I get my black belt, my first tournament was a Grand Prix in Argentina by a Copa Pod. I don't know if you guys hear about that, but that's an event in Brazil. And first challenge was cut the weight. I fight like on 85 kilos. I come from like 110 to 85, like in a month. And on the semi bracket, on the semi day, I fought with Leandro Loa, Nicolas, Vitor Estima, and Dylan Danish.
Wow.
I guess I'm win, I guess I'm lost, but like, man, first event was a black belt.
Right.
Boom.
Boom.
Like, for like all the guys I were on the black belt, like really, really good. But it's good because I'm like, man, I'm on these guys' level, do you understand? Maybe I need to work on this or that, but I'm here. I'm in the game, do you understand? I believe that with the 2 wins and 2 losses, but I feel pretty good after, and that make me to keep it pushing. I gotta fix this. To fight on this level, this 10 minutes you don't need to start like crazy on the beginning. You gotta, and then I start to figure out my way. You know.
Yeah, and I think that's important too, is just being able to get those reps, those competition reps, because what you do in the training room doesn't always translate to how you compete. And the goal is to do that, right? How you train, and the things you're able to do within the training room should be able to translate to your competition. And if it's not, then where's the disconnect? What's going on? Is it mental? Is it physical? Is it because you're not like, I have there's this, jiu-jitsu can sometimes become very theoretical and all these techniques and things to do, but it does you no good if you're not physically able to apply that in the moment against a force, somebody that is resisting, So I think it's important to be able, when you're under that stressed competition environment, to be able to, pull the trigger, do the things that you need to do.
Yeah. Some people, like you said, right? Some people freeze, and some people
just go.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is in the.
But that can be teaching, that you can teach that to learn. People learning,
and helps you with when you really have to face this for real. Like someone come and wanna beat you up.
Right.
Like the competition can help the learning the process of feeling the unknown in the competition. Fighting someone is the closest that we can get into a real fight, right? Like we're grappling, we're going, but it's me against you. Like I don't know what's gonna happen, and someone that's already trained, like it's kind of like it helps you with the adrenaline change. Your body will change, your thoughts are going to change, and adapting with that, it helps you to be even more comfortable when you need jiu-jitsu for self-defense. You can.
And I feel this give you into like not just the pushing, but like the control to do on the right time. Cause on the competition, you need to do on the right time too. You know what I mean? You can't just timing. And like when you have that, if that situation come on the street, you can see, you can control the situation. Okay, that's the right time to act, and like maybe you just has that control, we will avoid a fight, because like you have the control, like okay, if I just step back, maybe we don't need to fight. Do you understand? And you're safe, and the guy's safe too, and all the scenarios like done.
Yeah, I think that awareness, right? Because in a match, you have to have awareness of what's going on. You can't be so fixated. You see, like, white belts, they get fixated on a grip and they hold right? Or we hold the guillotine, they just hold positions. And I think it's sometimes like that inaction, right, creates opportunities where negative things can happen. Like you're talking about a street self-defense fight. Get out of there. Don't sit, wait around to know what's going to happen. Like just get yourself out of there to begin with, you know. And I think really to boil down what we're talking about, whether it's competition or dealing with life stress, is just your ability to stay calm when things get stressful. And we talked about that last time. Just I think competing, especially, is going to train and retrain the brain and retrain the body to have a better physiological response to stress. And I was just talking to some of my students about this, is if you don't compete, it's okay. Because you're competing every day. Like the average person, when they come into class, that is their competition.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the highest level they know. Mm-hmm. If they've never stepped off the mat to compete, that is competition. And we lose sight, like sometimes I forget that, like, hey, this white or blue belt that's about to roll with me, he feels nervous, right? He feels that feeling that you may feel at Worlds. Mm-hmm. But it takes, we want to take that, level, yes, we want to take that ceiling and keep on raising it. So, you know, I'm never going to push a student or force a student to be like, you have to compete, but I highly recommend, like, what is your ceiling? Go a little bit past that. Right? So if you're competing, if you're doing really well in the gym and you're having good rolls, go do a local competition. Yeah. Go check out a regional competition. If you're doing really good at that, right? Go the next step. Mm-hmm. You know, because you're always going to hit that. Like, I think it's interesting. Like, take the game of basketball, right? I'm obviously short and can't play basketball, but I love watching it. And one of the things that I think about is, you know, high level NBA players, they can hit a 3-pointer in practice like this over and over. But what happens when you place them in a game? Okay, they can hit it. What happens when you place them in the championship? Can they hit it? And what changes isn't the action, the movement, or the technique. It's the environment that is occurring and being applied to that athlete. So the stress of that environment, you know, the feeling. I love, one of my favorite things about Pans is like when you walk in and you go through the tunnel and it opens up and you just see like the marquee and you see like the things scrolling around the arena and have the mats. Like that energy can either do two things to you. It can either
bump you
up or shut you down. And we want the first. We want you to feel empowered by that. And I think that's the important thing, is when things start to get stressful, you can either start to shut down and start to get frustrated with yourself, or you can use it as like, wow, this is a great opportunity, you know? And I think that's where I've tried to shift a lot of my competition mindset, is like, I could care less now. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that I'm healthy and able to compete. That's a win to me, because there was a time where I couldn't do that with the ACL tear and then with a torn pectoral muscle. Like, those injuries have taught me a lot about myself as a competitor, more than some of my wins and losses did. It just, you know, because you have to ask yourself, who are you when you can't compete? Who are you when you can no longer do the thing you want? And if you lose your total identity in that as a person, then that's a problem. You know, we kind of hold ourselves like, oh, I'm a jiu-jitsu athlete. I'm a black belt. What happens if you have an ACL tear and now you can't show your students what you want to do? You have to be able to instruct them, tell them, you know, and it changes. I don't know. For me, I remember listening to Dominic Cruz talk about it. The UFC fighter Dominic Cruz, because he had 3 ACL tears back to back. And imagine like going through all that, tearing it again, going through it, tearing again, and then eventually making it back into the UFC. But he said on a podcast, you know, I had to think about, who am I if I can't do this? You know, if we didn't have the physical ability to do this, because at any point this can be taken away.
Easy.
Yeah.
Hey, I have 3 ACL surgeries and 2 scopes on my right knee.
Yeah.
And that's important to know, you know, and build skills that, because athletes, it's going to go away. You're not going to be an athlete
forever. Impossible.
Who you are. And usually athletes are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out what you can do to become an entrepreneur in the industry that you're the specialist, you know. That's kind of
On the beginning, I really recommend everybody who was like a jiu-jitsu athletic teach minimum like 1-2 times a week, for real. That will help you a lot in the future, you know.
Yeah.
But one time you over, you need to like pay your bills by something.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the skills to run a good class, because it doesn't matter, you can be like the best in the world. If you don't have the knowledge how to share this,
Yeah.
it's hard. We're not gonna deliver a good class or whatever. We're not gonna have a school package, you know. And that's where we want. If you like, you start now, like a purple belt, brown belt, start to think already about like helping the classes, you know, learn how to share. If you guys from Brazil, learn get English, you know, go for the school. I learned the hard way outside here on the mat. My first day in the USA, that was on a Saturday. I get in the gym, boom, and my friend Gutenberg today, Monday, the fundamentals class yours, okay, 6:30. I'm like, I don't know how to like start the class, you know what I mean? And Josh, I figured out, did my job getting home. I'm like, okay, I'll teach this week, this and this and this. Get the like translate everything. But if somebody asks him something outside the technique, I'm like, the good thing I have like a Hispanic guy in the class,
Okay.
And then like he I think he born here, but his family was Hispanic, you know, and he able to speak Spanish with me. I'm not fluent in Spanish, but I can understand better, you know, like in the beginning, I can understand better. And then he helped me a lot. I told like, man, you can't miss this class, please. If you don't show up, you let me know, okay?
Yeah. Let me know. Text me beforehand.
Yeah, please. Yeah. And he helped me a lot. And
I think that is important, though, you know. And we were talking earlier about mentors, like having good mentors, making sure that like if you are, you know, the head coach or a higher up coach, putting some of your students in those spots to help. Like we all, as a coach, you see certain students that gravitate more to helping others in the gym. You know, I have 2 blue belts right now that have really helped me in the no-gi just because, you know, I can place them with white belts and they're going to give them really good information. And it's not going to be, because sometimes like some dude sees a YouTube video and now is coaching outside the realm of what the class is. And, you know, so I think we talked about the Benjamin Franklin, like the canvas strategy, right? Where you put people in the right positions to help.
Yep.
Right.
I have a purple belt now. He competes like maybe 1-2 times, but he loves teach. He loves it. He run one class at Sunday. Okay. It's not a class. He just like he put the instruction. Boom, break down the instructors for the white belts, you know, on the better way to they drill and they just drill. Man, this helped me a lot when like and we try work together. You know, I know what he's showing during on Saturday, or sometimes I ask him like, "Hey, we work on close guard this week. Next Sunday, put like close guard submissions breakdown.
Right.
He work on that Monday. I'm like, boom, that's good, easy to teach that like after this, you know. And I try helping him and guiding him on that way to be like instructor and head instructor one day and somewhere, you know, because I see that's the way he wanna do. Yep. It's not everybody will be a good instructor, you know. And when you saw they wanna do this early, it's easy. You can help it. They active this, you know.
Absolutely. And you know, to be able to be in a position to help people realize, you know, their potential, right? Yep. You know, that guy may have never thought that he would ever have an opportunity to teach like that. And now you're putting him in a position because his understanding, now that he's responsible for giving that information to others, he's going to take it more serious than he might have if he was
he take it more serious than myself, man. He break it down, show me everything. Hey, I will show every week. He like, man, that's what we're going to do. You approve? I'm like,
yeah,
better than myself to go there.
Yeah, I have so speaking on those blue belts, I have one of the blue belts, Zach. He's, you know, came into the game much more focused on leg locks, and you know, as an MMA guy, I didn't spend a lot of time working on leg locks. So I'm like, yeah, like this is your niche. Focus on that and just continue to grow that. He sends me a spreadsheet. It's all broken down. It has. I'm like, perfect. Because at some point, you don't have the time or energy, right? Everything in your life takes energy and time. And, you know, as an instructor, like, of course, we're going to put it into our classes and what we teach. But that preparation may be in our head because we've done it for so long. And as an instructor, I have a rough outline of what I want to show that month, but you guys know it all depends on who shows up to class.
Sometimes you gotta switch. You
gotta switch it up. You have to be flexible, and that's that ability to be flexible and to adapt to what your current situation is as an instructor is really important. Because if not, you're gonna get frustrated. Because you're gonna get frustrated. Like if I have a higher level technique, but I have all white belts, I'm not gonna show them that technique. I'm gonna give them something that's gonna help them get towards the level where they can now understand that technique.
Yep.
Instead of sitting there and get frustrated that some white belt isn't doing, you know, this advanced guard correctly, you know. And I don't know. I think it's we were speaking on like just the importance of placing people in certain positions to help, you know, everybody grow. You know, talking about like putting purple belt, blue belt in roles to help other students in the academy.
No, that's important.
They do these too, like the instructors from
brown belts, you know, they start helping teaching classes. I have a Professor John, great add to the team. He's running some classes extremely well. Coach Brent and Coach Zerwin, they're helping a lot, and Professor Ryan's teaching some classes as well.
We share one
black belt.
One black right on my school couple days and his school couple days. That's funny.
And you know what? I think that's also a big thing that we value at Ryoma is that we have between, you know, our three black belts, Bob, Thomas, and myself, 3 different approaches to jiu-jitsu. Not everybody's approach to jiu-jitsu is gonna be for everybody. You know, that's why I kind of focus on the no-gi because I have a little bit more of a fast-paced game where, you know, Bob is much more slow, controlled, Bernardo, like Feria, like style. And I think it's important for students to have that different approaches. Just so, because one student may not understand it, but then Thomas says it one way and he's like, oh, light bulb.
I like that too. The one thing you do, I have like the program now, but it's not like right. You should show the arm bar like this, cross the arm, broke the posture, step on the hips and arm bar. Man, we have like too many grips different here. I just tell the instructor, like, it's arm bar. You gotta show arm bar from close guard. How? Do the way you like to do, and break it out to the students. You know, I just should show them when some things like they don't do whatever. If I will show like I get a purple belt like Brandon, he go show the technique and today's beating polo, you know, whatever, and he little bit overweight or whatever. He don't do like too much. I will show like, hey, that's the way I do. You know, that's the way I like to break down. If you wanna show that way, it'll be perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they go on that way. Out there, I leave a little bit flexible to the like show. But most of the time, when the instructors come from the school, they show exactly like we do, because they learn from us. That's funny. Sometimes I'm outside like see like Raya teach or whatever. I'm like, good. That's fun. He like it. And sometimes a good thing, he just pay attention to different like details. You know, he show the move exactly like I show, but like I'm a little bit lighter. Maybe if I use that grip here, will help you guys a lot to try. You know, and boom, make a lot of difference. Just that grip, and it's fun.
Yeah, everybody has their own way of teaching. You know, just you can show different same technique with so many different ways.
Man.
And I think that's how we can adapt to jiu-jitsu. You know, sometimes you have an injury, you don't have that arm to hold.
Yep.
How can you figure out to do the arm bar just using one arm? You know, and recently we had a competitor that I think he went to. He got
implant.
amputated.
Amputated.
Amputated leg, and so inspiring, like seeing
Yeah.
him going out there and competing. I think there was the Philadelphia Summer Open or something like that, and it shows that jiu-jitsu works.
Jiu-jitsu
You
is
have,
adaptable.
however you can, you should be able to adapt.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have seen one of Vicente's students. He's a blue belt, RJ Nealon. He has cerebral palsy, and I think he competed at PBJJF against somebody who also had, I think he had an amputee.
Yeah.
But he just recently went to Brazil with Vicente and taught a modified butterfly guard technique. And I think that's, I'm sure RJ was just living his best life in Brazil, getting a chance to do that. But I think those ambassadors for, individuals that may have some type of disability or some type of, barrier to be, I think it's important to see that because it goes, I can do this, right? It's very much, inspiring to see. And I think it also makes it, everybody else like, hey, what excuses am I telling myself that I can't do this? You know what I mean? If this person is overcoming these challenges, so he's definitely an inspiration to myself, even as a blue belt, just to see him, continue to push himself, continue to compete. And I think that's the beauty of jiu-jitsu is it's not a one size fits all. You definitely can adapt it.
And I think we adapt throughout time, injuries,
Yeah.
I adapt all the time.
How do you guys feel like, your injuries, because over the course of, being a black belt, you definitely sustain them. How do you guys, maintain, your body, and how do you train through those injuries? What are some things that you've learned about injuries for yourself?
I personally try to avoid dangerous position where I know, like I have like I said, I have 3 ACL surgeries, so my knee's not the same as when I was young. Even when I actually get those injuries from motorcycle and soccer when I was like a teenager.
I think you mentioned that. Yeah.
And I think is trying to not risky. If I'm training with a heavier guy, maybe I'm not gonna lean towards moving to one direction where I try to be able to predict what bad could happen, like man, if I'm in this position, this guy crazy throw himself here, you're gonna break my leg, break my knee. So I try to be more aware of the dangers, I don't I try to not put myself in those positions of dangers, and I force you to adapt your game, like I was telling the guys. So I used to do a lot of reverse de la Hiba hook. So I use the reverse de la Hiba hook with the lapel. That adapts that towards less pressure on my knee. When you use the reverse de la Hiba hook, can be a lot of pressure on your knee. And like sometimes you defend the knee cut using that. So when you wrap with the lapel, it can help
support,
do more established, get turning more established.
And less pressure on it. So I personally try to adapt the jiu-jitsu throughout the injuries and try to be more ahead on
the movement,
the risk, the movements, the risk of what could happen, because you don't know how people gonna react. Maybe they drop their weight on you. Depending on their weight, they can really damage you. At least my knee. So I think that's adaptation. Be aware of the whole scenario, what could happen, and I was going to say something that I forgot. Adapt, adjust the techniques. I'll be aware of the injuries, the dangers. I think that's mostly it, to be honest.
To myself, I think I try to lift a lot. I feel like this help.
I remember. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I forgot. No.
I'm going. If you remember, I try to keep it lift like minimum 3-4 times a week. I feel like if I'm strong, it's kind of easy to. Because sometimes you it happens like a hyperextend, you push your hand, hit somebody, fall on your arm, but if you're strong enough to hold that, you'll be able to avoid the injuries, And now I have a guy, man, he on the semi-mall, Jonathan, his name. He don't sponsor his sponsor. He should. 'Cause I pay every session, but he's like a PT guy. I do like before get hurt.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Prehab.
Yeah, like I'm trying to hit him like one time a week. Every time I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm go there. He adjusts me, put like some cups, you know, and that these help me a lot, you know, like do this pre work with Jonathan and keep it lifted, you know, because like if I just train jiu-jitsu and don't lift it, I think by my size, if I don't lift it, the chance to get hurt is bigger.
Especially when I know JP was talking about body weight. I feel like that is one of the biggest things that can injure you is when you have an opponent falling, not in control of their body weight, and at a heavy weight, you know, that's a big body.
Everybody's big,
Everybody's big.
Yeah. But it's not lifting to be like huge, but like to keep health, strong, you know, keep it strong, get my joints strong, you know, and like has strength enough to hold these guys' weight, you know.
And I think that's the misconception with combat sports, right? As we talked before, I also have a background in strength and conditioning. I've been doing that longer as an athlete than I have jiu-jitsu.
And the kettlebell and kimuras.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and this is just my answer to my own life and kind of like a niche business that I started providing as a service. But to speak on combat sports and strength and conditioning, it should be your base. You know, what we call GPP, general preparedness, like just being a physical preparedness is being able to take on the volume of training, the sessions, the multiple jiu-jitsu sessions, to be able to be resilient. That way you can go through these hard practices where you're taking a couple bumps, bruises, and it's not putting you out for a week at a time, 2 weeks at a time, or, you know, to be strong going into that competition. The kettlebell for me became the answer to my own life because I have a busy life. When I first got into combat sports, I was able to prepare like a professional athlete because I was able to spend 2 hours in the gym because I was in college. Mm-hmm. If you have kids, a life, a job, you can't do that because you got to pick, am I spending time in the gym or spending time on the mats?
Yep.
And so for me, the kettlebell it's like, what is the minimal effective dose? What is the least amount of work that I have to put in order to get the maximum result? And for me, the answer was the kettlebell. For a year, I really only focused on using kettlebells. I've been training with kettlebells for almost 10 years, but then I exclusively switched to just focusing on, you know, basic movements of what's called hard style kettlebell. So hard style is a little bit different than like the juggling you see and all these fancy complexes you see people do on Instagram. Hard style comes from the philosophy of like hard style martial arts, like old style karate, hard style, and it's about tension. So when you do a kettlebell swing, a lot of you guys have probably seen people, you bring it over their head or you want to be, the idea of a kettlebell swing is to generate force and tension through the hips and through the posterior chain, the hamstrings and the back. That's what makes it such a great exercise for combat sports athletes. However, you know, I only have to do that one move to hit my whole total body. I don't have to go in and do these splits. What you're seeing now, though, is a lot of athletes are wanting to focus on what's called isometric strength. That's why you see Gordon Ryan, you know, do all these bodybuilding exercises, but what they're not saying is all the other performance enhancing things that they're taking to recover from
and to
those
build,
workouts.
and also to, because I see a study of testosterone. If someone takes testosterone and they don't do anything, they increase their mass like 25%. Yeah. I don't know, like this amount of percent.
Percent.
Somebody don't take it. They just work out. They increase like 3%.
Yep.
Somebody taking it and working out increase like 50, whatever, you know, double of.
Don't say that. We go motivate a lot of people to take it.
No, I'm saying that. When people talk about doping stuff like that, is really
it's a problem.
Change the outcome of a fight compared to someone that's not taking
100%.
You know?
And I think it's important for people to not like, because let's be honest, you know, like the individuals I work with my kettlebell service aren't at high levels of competition. They're moms, they're dads, they're recreational athletes that want to get stronger for their sport or for their life. You know, if you're out of shape and you can't pick up your son and carry him, that's an issue. You know what I mean? Like if you can't play with your children, that's an issue. If you can't enjoy walking and all these other activities that are a part of our life, that's an issue. And the Strong First, so the last time I was here, I was actually getting prepared for my Strong First kettlebell certification. So in June 1st to 3rd, for 3 days, I went up to Philadelphia, and through the Strong First company, I was certified as a kettlebell instructor. And I will say, there's a lot of like strength and conditioning certificates you pay money for, take a test online and get. I felt like I earned this. Like it was like a gauntlet. You know what I mean? It felt like afterwards I physically had to put myself through a test in order to do it. The first 2 days were just prep. So there's 5 basic movements in hardstyle kettlebell. You have the swing, the Turkish get up, the clean, the press, and the squat. Oh, and the snatch. So those right there are like the basic movements. The snatch, yep. And the snatch is one of the more complex ones because you see guys do it all the time and they slap their wrist because it comes over, but you want to punch the kettlebell. So in order to be certified on the 3rd day, you have to show your proficiency on all of those techniques, all 6 of them, and you have to complete what's called the snatch test, which is 100 snatches in 5 minutes. With my weight was a 52-pound kettlebell, and it's hard. You had to prepare. Like people fail this. Like there's a 30% fail rate, which I like because I didn't want something that everybody can obtain. And I also wanted to know that I was going through this. That way, the people I serve, I've met a standard of service that I can provide.
You gotta real prepare yourself for the test, you know. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and if you don't, then you have no business being in a position of authority. We have too many people that buy authority. And then now they're on Instagram and they can say they're this and they're that. But the biggest thing, do you have skin in the game? What I mean by that, have you actually tested it yourself? Have you done it? And for a whole year, all the stuff that I now work with my athletes with, I did. For our honeymoon, my wife and I, we went to Greece. Loved it. I was in heaven. But I took a kettlebell bag. It's like a dry bag. And I was able to hit a kettlebell workout every day in Greece. So every day I woke up, I did 100 swings, 10 Turkish get-ups. That way at the end of the 10 days, I was at 1,000 swings and 100 Turkish get-ups. And I just stayed consistent. And I think that's the biggest thing that kettlebells has provided me and my strength and conditioning is consistency. Because what will happen is you get these guys that want to lift with a barbell and you have all these nice percentages and plans. Okay, I just had a hard training session the night before at Nogi. My body's beat up, but I have to squat 315 pounds because that's what this paper says. As a coach, you need to be able to adapt that and recognize what your athletes need based on their recovery. With a kettlebell, it's much easier.
And you can do anywhere, right?
Yeah,
Anywhere.
yeah.
They should bring a
You don't
kettlebell.
have to have the full gym.
Yeah.
Taking your full gym with you anywhere you go.
Yeah, I can't take a squat rack with me, right?
But with the kettlebell, it can be like.
Yep.
And how people can learn from you.
Oh, so shameless plug. Kettlebells and Kimuras. It's once again inspired by jiu-jitsu. It's on Instagram. I have a kettlebell service through My PT Hub, which is a online app that you can purchase. You can follow my plan, and once again, it's very standard. It follows the Strong First principles of hardstyle kettlebell training. My intro program really just focuses on the swing and the Turkish get-up. And the Turkish get-up is pound for pound one of the best movements you can do for jiu-jitsu athletes because what you're doing is you're taking a weight from a supine or laying down position, you're pressing it over top of your head, and then you're standing up.
Yeah.
And we all know one of the hardest things is to stand up when someone's trying to hold you down. So to me, it's like you're wrestling this bell.
Craig Jones says easy, just stand up.
Yeah, just stand up, right? Just stand up. Derek Lewis, right? And it's very, it has an isometric element to it because you're constantly creating tension. So time under tension is going to build muscle, right? The more time that muscle is under tension, the more muscle that will be built. And the idea is for you to create stability in the shoulder, in your hips, in your core, in your back. And for me, I think it's one of the pound for pound. Like, I'm an online coach. I have very few clients that I work with one-on-one. So would I rather give them 4 workouts where there's 10 different exercises for a total of 40 exercises? Or would I rather give them 2 exercises to do, the swing and Turkish get up, 4 times a week? You know, how proficient are they going to get compared to doing, 40 different exercises?
I did it at 2016. I worked with one guy in Brazil, Delta Servinho. We just work with kettlebells and Olympic lift, like a bar and weights. And man, I got like in a really good shape to compete and like very strong. My base was like incredible, It's like too much, just push weight up, and that's good. A lot of swings, that give me like my base, my hips, strength is like insane.
Yeah. And I think for combat sports athletes, especially jiu-jitsu, it's important because if you're an amateur athlete, you don't need to spend more time in the gym and working out. You need to spend more time learning skill. Mm-hmm. So you got to break down combat sports into, what is based on skill, is a skill training session, and what is a strength and conditioning training session? What is a sparring training session? As an MMA athlete, you have days you spar, you have days you develop skill, you have days that you do conditioning or strength work. And one of the things that I've encountered is a lot of combat sports athletes, they just want to do the sport. Yeah. They don't want to strength train. I'm going to speak on, because he's on the same card as you are. I'm giving a little shout out to my friend Pat Rivera. So Patrick Rivera is going to be on the card this weekend, and he's actually been working with me this camp on his strength and conditioning, and I'm very honored because he's a guy that gave to me a lot of good coaching and just mentorship when I was working with him, getting prepared for my fight against Skyler. And as you know, he's a big training partner for a lot of the guys in the DMV, and to be able to give back to him meant a lot to me. And it's funny because he's a guy that hates lifting.
He hates to lift, yeah.
Yeah, he hates to lift. He just wants to spar, just wants to skill develop.
He likes running.
Right, yeah, he likes running too.
He like one day like, well, let's go train. He's like, okay, bring your shoes. I'm like, fuck no. They're gonna put them in. I forgot. Yep, I know he wanna like. He's
a little bit, of a sadist. He likes that punishment, glutton for punishment. But I was very honored to get a text, and he goes, I feel strong.
That's cool.
I feel strong. He's like,
I miss him, and we was training together all the time. But now he do like his MMA training like Crazy 88. Mm-hmm. We don't train together every week anymore. But he's a funny guy, man. He's funny. Man.
Yeah, he's a great dude, and that's what it's really about. Is like we were talking about earlier with jiu-jitsu, trying to help people reach their potential and be resilient for life. That's what the kettlebells are about. That's what Strong First, the school of training that I'm under, is about. It's not being strong for the sake of looking good on Instagram. It's for being strong for yourself and others. Yeah. Being strong so you can enjoy life because, at 60 years old, 70 years old, the rate of if you fall, of you dying, passing away after you fall and break a hip, it goes up like 60, 70%. Yeah. So if I can take somebody and prepare them for, older years in their lives and be resilient, and they're able to get up from the floor and stand up better, more stable, that's a win. Yeah. Because now you're strong for life. You're not just strong for the likes. Yeah. And so, if anybody's interested in working with me, feel free to reach out to, the nearest Strong First instructor that you have in your area. If you go on the Strong First website, you can actually search different instructors that are under their banner. And I know in Baltimore, in the area, they have the Baltimore Kettlebell Club. Dan, I forget his last name, Cordenza, I think. He's actually a Strong First certified coach. I think He's elite level, so he has all their certifications. He was up there in Philly, though. He popped up, and his wife was one of the instructors up there during my certification. So nice, cool. It was really cool to meet those guys, and once again, the kettlebell community is kind of like jiu-jitsu. It's a community of its own, and I was happy to be able to push alongside some like-minded individuals. That's always a good feeling.
That's good, yeah. And people can train with you virtually as well, right?
Yep.
Can they do one-on-one virtually?
They can do one-on-one. I have some limited availability, typically on the weekends. But the way the app works is you download the program. You can send me videos. I respond through the videos. I have videos on
Probably
there
they
that
have
you
the
can watch.
video guidance, so
Yep.
like how to do the technique and
And if they want to book like a virtual session, that's fine too. One of the things I've been doing is onboarding, making sure that I at least get one private one-on-one. That way I can make sure everything's good. And my intro program really takes you, I have everything regressed. So week 1, you're not doing a full Turkish get-up. You're only doing a supine to the elbow. So and then week 2, you move a little further. Then week 3, until you feel confident. And one of the coolest things, I have a student right now. He just went from the 24 kilogram to the 32 kilogram, and he showed me his Turkish get up yesterday. And
looking good.
Oh man, and to see the confidence that he has, and now his strength. And just hear him saying, man, I feel good. I feel stronger than I ever have. Wow. And he's like 34 years old, 35 years old. That means a lot to me, because that means that, once again, I'm putting out good service. I think that's important to me. Anybody can get you tired. As a jiu-jitsu coach, that people can go in and like everybody wants to say everyday porrada, but like, are you actually getting better? Mm-hmm. Are you actually improving compared to, are you just getting tired and sloppy?
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, no, that's great. Great to hear. If people want to follow you on social media,
kettlebell and kimuras for the company.
Yeah, kettlebells and kimuras. You can follow Rauma Academy. That's our gym up in Frostburg. Or you can follow me online. My athlete page would be B_Walter_. And once again, we have a great thing going up in Frostburg. I can't speak on, the area and our gym enough. So if anybody wants to, stop up, always more than welcome to drop in for a class or two. So
awesome. Shout out to everyone from Rauma Vicente Jr. team. You guys always come strong. I looking forward to see you guys
at Worlds.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Strong for the Worlds. Before we finish, I want to thank you for coming here today, Brent. Pleasure to have you with us. I forgot to tell you guys about Worlds. Don't forget, Worlds, November 12th. As soon as the belt arrived, we're gonna put in
on the table.
Yeah.
So
the belt not to everyone, only black belt.
Only black
open
belt,
class.
absolute black belt
absolute
division.
Open class.
Male and female.
Yep.
So if you come, you told me you were competing too.
Yep.
So Thomas here. Just want to give a shout out to George. Shout out to George. Thomas, Ron, and
DeCels.
Derek,
right? Derek?
Yep.
Derek, shout out to you guys sending comments here for us.
Derek will be there. I know he's been preparing. He's one of our white belts that has really approached competition with a very structured and disciplined mindset. So I'm looking forward to seeing him get out there and win his division.
Sure, all then.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, all the medals, trophies, and the belt, it looks amazing. I'm so blessed to be part of what is going on now, with the organization.
Too much work, guys, but
a lot of work, but I think we were talking a little bit earlier, right? The other day, what motivates you? I think challenge motivates me, like
pushing.
Yeah, like it's not really.
We all the time push ourselves out of comfort zone. The things to start getting like a little bit comfortable, we look at each other. Hey, let's do this.
I think
when it's not for myself, it's for himself, But the crazy things, we always like
we push
going. Let's go.
Like things are getting cool. And then hey, let's push the next level. Let's go to
I definitely
Texas.
see you guys are pushing.
Florida.
Texas. You guys are going to New York. That's big, man. Yeah. That's big. It's great to see.
It's great to have the team here to support. We have Max and I were the face here, but we have a lot of people supporting us to make this happen.
And I can see it at the tournaments. You have I believe one of your purple belts that does a really good job of
Carlos.
Yeah.
Josie, she's goes to the tournament. She's on the office as well. Both of them. Ricardo, Ludmilla, you know,
Our wife is behind. Yeah, man. Like
Amanda,
Amanda
Maria
Moria. That's
Clara.
like
You know, like we have so many people, and like the thing is, we have a lot of people that are helping us to make this happen, because we have also people that work for the day at the event, right? Scorekeeper, referees, you know, they're a big part of what we're doing. You know, like they're helping us to accomplish those missions.
Yeah.
Without
Also-
them, we couldn't make this happen.
also if you guys wanna work in a tournament, you know, send an email for professional jiu-jitsu at gmail.com and we can guide you guys like being
Where
a
to
staff
go,
or how to go, you know, like, and if you wanna you was a black belt or brown belt, you wanna be a referee, contact us too. We have the course, we can help you guys prepare you to do this.
And a lot of things, a lot of times, like people that come from those positions in the organization, they grow with us, like Josie, Carlos. They start in those positions, you know, and then they're able to get to another level. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's a way for you to start showing your work, and maybe more we grow, more people we need, and we're growing with people inside the organization. You know? I think that's kind of how, because they already see the mission, they know what we do, they love what we have for what we do, and that's kind of the way we're growing. So if you guys, you can also go to Instagram. We have the link on Instagram. If you click, you're gonna see like work with us, something like that. And then we have a form that you can fill out the form. What position you want to work, would you like to work, what days you would like to work, what tournament you like to work. So we have all those opportunities for people as well.
That's awesome.
To be part, like it's not just work, but it's to be part that from something that's can disrupt or be growing the jiu-jitsu, you know, something that really can be big, you know, like beyond.
And you also make a little bit
also-
extra dollars, no? Like
You get paid.
it's not gonna be a voluntary work. If you guys want, that's fine. But like,
No, or like we pay the staff, but I think it's something beyond. You know, like man, work for work, yeah. But like man, when you're doing something beyond your work, you're helping this to become. One day you're gonna look back, everybody that, because we're like they help us to make this happen.
Yeah.
Right. They are part of PBJJF growth. Every single person that helps on the podium, on the scorekeeping, on the entry, it helps the tournament to happen. So they will look back and man, I'm part of that. I was able to be part of that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of learning throughout the process. The network you get from the professors, from the community, you get to know more people, and you get to connect with, you know, internally and inside and outside of the organized team. So it's a lot of opportunities, you know, like for the growth and learning how things work inside the behind the scenes. It's like it's the way it's the most challenging thing, because we're really trying to make the best experience for everybody, you know. And you're always gonna have people that sometimes don't agree, but we keep pushing to, you know, achieve that goal as much as possible. Like we send I don't know if you received for sure. I don't know if you did, but we have a survey that we send to every single athlete.
After the tournament.
After the tournament, every single competitor receives a survey, and that helped us to understand how the tournament went and how can we improve. And we chase for improvement every single time. So so if you guys are everybody should come to this is gonna be a legendary. If you win this tournament, man, you're gonna be in the PBJJF history forever. You know, we're gonna be
It's the first one.
the first one. You know, and every world you win, you're gonna be in the history. 20 years from now, PBJF will be huge. It's growing so fast
For sure.
that you guys this title will means like 20, 30 times more than what's
now,
you know. So you can carry there to your legacy.
Once again, it's just cool to be a part of something that is growing, you know, and I think it is unique to Maryland. You know, that's the cool thing is you guys are based out of Maryland, you know the gyms, you know the culture of jiu-jitsu on the East Coast, and you guys are trying to grow it. And that's really why I choose, and our gym has chosen to support PBJJF. So
we appreciate it. And like we're blessed that some professors, they come to us and they tell, look, you guys, that's the tournament we do. Like I go as a coach, many professors and coach, I go to coach only at PBJJF tournaments. People can go anywhere, but I try to prepare a team. I tell them, look, those are the tournaments that I'm gonna coach.
Yeah.
If you want to compete and be coached by me, those are the tournaments that you can go. You know, like it's amazing to see how they're
trust on us too. Yeah.
Trust, and they're seeing the improvement and what we're trying to do. So that's great, guys. Quick shout out to our sponsors: Brave Kimonos, the best jiu-jitsu gi in the market. Use PBJJF as a discount code when you purchase on bravekimonos.com. Santos Law Firm, High Profile Immigration Law Service,
PBS CRAWLSPACE,
CRAWLSPACE Foundation, and Perkins Dental Care, as you guys can see
right
here.
on time.
And also shout out to
Kettlebells
and Kimuras. Make sure you guys go
that purchase that shirt.
Purchase
Have that
it.
shirt on the
They have
website.
that one?
Yes,
Look
That's
really
awesome.
nice,
So
man.
make sure you guys purchase, and make sure you tell them.
You see from the podcast.
On the podcast. And to support, guys, to support PBJJF, you don't have to invest any money. Just go to the sponsors and tell them, hey, I've seen your brand at PBJJF Podcast, man. The guys are really present your brand very well. Like, it's worth to be connected to jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Absolutely. You know? So, man, just go there, send them a message, or don't even send a message. Just go there, post and comment. Hey, man, I've seen the podcast. The
Like
guys
and
are
share.
doing great.
Yeah,
Like and share.
That's the best thing you can do these days. It's free. Costs nothing.
Free.
Like, share, follow.
But a lot of people, they share from people that they don't even know.
Yeah.
But they don't share from people that
Right,
they know.
100%.
Like, so make sure you guys go share. Follow Kettlebells and Kimuras. Follow Brent B underscore Walter, and come to PBJJF, man. If you want to be the best jiu-jitsu athlete, if you want to push the high level, come to PBJJF and showcase your talent. Thank you guys so much for being with us. Don't forget to share, like, comment, and click the bell button. All right. Thank you guys.
See you guys. That's awesome,
Thank you so
brother. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Max.